Hey guys, what's up? This is Mel, and I'm here to talk about the originals, episode 313, titled Heart-Shaped Box, which premiered Friday, February 19th, 2016 on the CW. Guys, a lot happened in this episode, a lot was revealed, but let's get right to it, shall we? 10-minute clock, go. So what is something new that we learned in this episode? So basically, we have Aurora, who kidnaps Freya to lure Klaus and Elijah to the woods so she can use those white oak bullets she created to kill them. And by the end of the episode, she used 4 bullets. That is, one to shoot Freya in the stomach. Second one was to try to shoot Elijah, but Freya used magic to divert the trajectory. Third one, she shot Klaus in the shoulder when in the woods. And then the fourth one, she actually got Elijah in the chest, close to the heart, but not in the heart itself. So that's 4 bullets down. How many does she have left? Who knows? But aside from that, we also get Haley trying to train Camille in how to defend herself. So we see them in the makeshift fight club ring that's in the abandoned church. So there's that. And they also deal with some trouble while there. So which leads into the next one. We get Davina, who summons Cole so that she can get him to tell her about the binding agent that is needed to unlink the sire lines from their respective originals. Cole doesn't want to say anything about it because he knows it's something that Davina's not going to like. So, which turns out that the binding agent is an unsired heart, which happens to be Haley's heart, so she's the only vampire in existence who isn't sired to any of the originals because she came from Hope. Does that mean that Hope is her own leader of her sire line? That wasn't stated, but they did make it clear that she is not sired to any of the Michelsons. So, which makes her big commodity because now her heart is on the line because they needed to perform the unlinking spell. However, Marcel finds an alternative, and instead he steals Jackson's heart and gives it to Aya so that she can have her witches do the spell. Because apparently, when Haley was married to Jackson during the whole unification ceremony, it made them equals. It mirrored his heart to her heart, and they touch upon that as well. So apparently they can use Jackson's heart. So with that said, in the very end, we see Aya and Aurora agreeing to team up together. So that's not going to go well at all whatsoever. So moving on to the most shocking moment of the episode, it has to be that the binding agent is the unsired heart, which happens to be Haley. For some reason, I thought it was going to be something complex, like with the doppelganger curse, but then again, the unsired heart does make sense because no one would think that one of the originals would have a child, and then from that, because she's born with vampire blood in her system, therefore the mother would have her blood in the system when she just dies. It just so happens that Haley was turned by Hope's blood because the witches killed her moments after Haley was born. Moments Hope was born. So it makes sense because the unsired heart is also a rare commodity, just like the doppelganger blood would have been in Klaus's curse. So it makes sense, yet it was still shocking to have it revealed to be like that. I mean, if only they figured that out a few years ago, then they would have no luck because there wouldn't be an unsired vampire to take their heart for the spell for. So, unrotten luck for Haley, right? So top 3 favorite moments, let's move on. First one has to be Klaus saving Elijah. So Elijah gets shot in the chest with the white oak bullet, like I mentioned before, but it's like close to the heart, but it doesn't hit the heart. But Klaus worries that with every beat of the heart, the blood is pumping towards the heart, the bullet is going to move towards it. So Klaus is very insistent that he helps Elijah take the bullet out, even though Elijah tells him to just leave him and to go and kill Aurora like he promised. Klaus refuses. Instead, he does everything he can to take that bullet out of his brother, and he does it, and you see how relieved he is when he still hears his brother's heartbeat after taking the bullet out. So I really like that even though Klaus broke his promise to Elijah about Aurora, I really like the fact that Klaus stayed and saved his brother. for sure. I don't think he would have forgiven himself if he allowed his own brother to die like that, just to fulfill a promise like that. So I really like that moment for them. Next favorite moment is Klaus again, when he finds Freya and comforts her later on. Earlier in the episode, we see them a bit at odds. He's furious at the fact that she can't locate Aurora through magic. So they separate on bad terms. She even brings up the fact that she even questions him whether she treats Rebecca the same way that he treats her now. And his silence says it all. So in the end, we find Klaus doing everything he can to find Freya, who is he's buried in one grave, yet she's surrounded in a field of newly dug graves. So it's kind of like a hit and miss thing for Klaus. So the way he finds her, though, is because Freya calls upon Finn within her necklace to help her out. So Finn from the necklace, I guess, helps clear her mind since Freya was drugged. Clears it enough so that she can use magic. And she uses magic to pull the blood leaving her body up through the coffin and up into the flowers that are planted above her newly set grave, so that the blood is what Klaus smells when he's trying to differentiate which grave she's under. So that's how Klaus finds her. And then later on at the end, when Klaus is whittling away a new wooden horse for Hope, which was a cute thing, by the way, he brings up the fact that Freya was surprised that he would go after her, and he reassures her the fact that she is his sister. She is his family, always and forever. And I love that he didn't hesitate about that. He reassured her of that fact. And I really like that. They definitely have come a long way since where they first started at the end of last season. So, yeah, I really like that for sure. Last favorite moment, it's Klaus again. I really liked him in this episode for sure. But it's Klaus and Haley this time. And that is when he finds Haley at the makeshift grave that she made for Jackson. And that is, she planted his heart, or she buried his heart, and then she planted a new tree sapling over it. So like later on, Hope would have some place to go as like a grave for Jackson, since Jackson's body was set burning at sea. So I really like that Klaus didn't cause any problems. He was sincere. He stated that Jackson was a good man, and he also gave his condolences to Haley for her loss. And he was really civil about it. He was being supportive, and he was just being there for her to help her grieve. And he offers her a distraction to help her move on from her grief, and that is to help train Camille, since he's not going to be dealing with that at the moment. So I just really like the calm civility between them, and how he was there, and how he actually said nice words. He didn't cause any trouble with Haley, and I really liked that for sure. Okay, another favorite moment, fourth one, since Klaus ended up taking all three, but it has to be Cole and Davina. I love that Cole is back, even if it's just for a moment, but I love seeing the connection and the dynamic between him and Davina, and just how far she would go to get him back, because she truly loves him. Yet Cole doesn't want her going down that path. He doesn't want her to compromise who she is just so that she can get him back. He even says that you have to let me go, because he wants her out of the Strix coven. But she loves him enough that she wants to endure it, so that when she gets him back, they could take on the Strix together. And he can't argue with that. So that was sweet. And moving on, top 3 peeved moments. Boy, do I have them. First one, Marcel's leadership. He was named the new leader of the Strix, and yet in this episode, it seemed like Aya was still calling the shots. I mean, like, it makes it... This whole episode felt like Marcel wasn't even the new leader. It was still Aya, and it just, that infuriated me, because Marcel got the title last episode, and yet he's just standing by. It made no sense, and it was just irritating for sure. Next peeved moment. Davina being eavesdropped on by the Strix coven. I mean, it's the second time now, and it's like, don't you think she would have learned by now that she should have put some protective anti-magic barrier around herself when she's talking to Cole? Because she even said herself that she doesn't trust Aya, she doesn't trust the witches in her coven, and yet she doesn't take any magical precautions against them. It made no sense, and it was irritating the fact that just when Davina makes a discovery, it's not truly hidden because the Strix are eavesdropping on her. And it just annoyed me for sure. If I was in Davina's position and I was being surrounded by people I don't trust yet I'm forced to work with, I'd take some magical precautions. I mean, wouldn't you? It just only makes sense. Self-preservation and all that. Timer, almost done. Last peeved moment was when Klaus hesitated in killing Aurora. Now, I get why you might hesitate because this is his technically first vampire love and everything like that. But here's the thing I don't like. Klaus had the gun, right? And he could have, and there was quite a distance between them, and yet he moves closer to Aurora so that she's close enough that she can kick his feet out from under him and disarm him. I mean, like, did you really have to walk closer just so you can shoot her? I mean, yes, it makes sense if he had a sword, then yeah, it makes sense you'd have to go closer, but he had a gun. You don't need to move towards your opponent or towards your target if you have a gun. You just pull the trigger and shoot. That was all Klaus needed to do. And yet he moved himself close enough that Aurora could still kick him and disarm him. It's just that irritated me. For 1,000+ hybrid, it's just, ugh. It's like, why did you move closer? I mean, you could have shot her right then and there. No talking, no second doubts. Your sole goal was to kill her this episode, and why didn't you? Better yet, why didn't you just waste all of the white oak bullets in Aurora? That way you get rid of the weapon itself, you get rid of her, and then that's it. You saved your own skin from the weapon. I mean, why did he not do that? So that just pissed me off even more. So there's that. So moving on, what moment will I remember when I look back on this episode? Title is Heart-Shaped Box, so now I'm always going to remember that Freya was buried alive in a coffin, and that whole coffin search thing, that's definitely going to be a huge reminder as well. Heart-Shaped Box could also refer to the fact that Jackson's heart is what's needed to do the unlinking spell and all that jazz, so there's that as well. Random questions, next segment. First one, while I love that we got to see Cole again, love it, love it, love it, I miss him. Did Davina really need to see him? Did she really need him? I get seeing him because she missed him, but did she really need him for the sole purpose of finding the binding agent? Because she figured out what the binding agent was on her own, since Cole didn't really reveal anything to her that she didn't already know. He only confirmed that the binding agent was something she wasn't going to like to acquire. Other than that, Cole was basically a soundboard for Davina to spitball her own thought process. And then he just kept saying, you really don't want to do this, is a bad idea, and all that. So while I love seeing Cole again, did she really need him? Because I think she could have probably figured it out internally in her head, and therefore the Strix wouldn't have eavesdropped and all that. You get where I'm going here? So yeah, that question. Next question though. How many white oak bullets were made? Like I said before, 4 of them were used. So I think as long as we figure out how many were actually made, that at least we can kind of like say, okay, 1 was wasted here, they only have this many left, so forth, and all that. Because like back on Supernatural with the cult, the first time it was featured in season 1 and season 2, they only had a certain amount of bullets. So they were very picky and choosy on whether they can use the bullets or not. Essentially, they were saving it up for the yellow-eyed demon. But then afterwards in season 3, they figured out a way for any bullet to work in the cult and serve that same purpose. But at least with season 1 and season 2, there was only like 12 or 13 bullets made specifically for the cult that could only be used to kill any supernatural being. So at least with that number, you could kind of work out, okay, this many were used, you only have this many left. You got to be very careful with where and when you use it. So I'm wondering if we got a number like that to work with over here on the originals, because we already have 4 gone. Did she have 8 made? Did she have 5 made? 4? Like all that. How many bullets are we working with that are left to be used? Just saying. Also, the bullets can be reused though, because we did see that Klaus dug out the bullet from Elijah's chest, but could they technically still use that bullet again and just clean it up a bit, stick it in the chamber of a gun, and then use it or something? I don't know. Let me know in the comments below if you think it can or cannot, or if you know the number of bullets, because I don't remember seeing all of them at the very end of the last episode when they were being made. So moving on, next question. At one point, Klaus had the gun that had the white oak bullets. So if he didn't plan to follow through with killing Aurora, then why the hell did he not just run with the gun? I mean, if you had the weapon in your hand, why not run with it? Because that's the one thing that is going to destroy you, right? The whole purpose was that he was worried about the weapon getting in the wrong hands. It got in Aurora's hands, and yet when he had it again in his hands, he had that brief moment where he could have just ran. At least then he secured his existence because he had the one thing that could kill him. But no, he stalls. He manages to step into Aurora's path. She manages to disarm him. She grabs the gun, she shoots Elijah, and then she runs away with the gun again. So he loses the weapon. So why did he not just run with the gun if he didn't think he was going to kill her to begin with? It's just, I don't understand. I mean, I would have ran. The sole purpose was either to kill her or to secure the weapon for yourself. Then why not just secure the weapon, use it against Aurora, and then destroy the weapon itself so they can't be used against you later on? It's like, ugh, I don't know. What do you guys think about that? Was that even coming across your mind as it was happening too? Let me know, please, in the comments below. Another question. Has there been any word about Freya's sleeping curse still plaguing her or not? Because I'm pretty sure the 1 year mark has pretty much come or gone at least, or we're coming close to it. So I'm wondering if Freya's year is up and then we have to see her fall asleep, or if she's truly free from that curse because Dahlia is gone. Please let me know in the comments below because I really want to know about that because it was never referenced again this season. So I'm just wondering, did they forget? Is it not an issue anymore? What's the deal with that? So there's that. So moving on to predictions. Based off the promo for 314, we're definitely going to see the Strix immobilizing Klaus and Elijah, or incapacitating them. As they prepare to kill them, or unlink them, then kill them. Because it looks like they're going to be magically trapped, and then their minds are going to be elsewhere where they're going to be greeted by Tristan and Aurora in their heads, while their bodies are left vulnerable. So there's that. Based on the synopsis, though, it is the next part in the Vampire Diaries crossover, and we see Stefan still in town, and he's supposedly meant to help Freya and the others get Klaus and Elijah back. Others being Marcel and Haley from the looks of the synopsis. So there's that. Predictions overall, I believe since they do have Jackson's heart as the binding agent, it looks like the sire lines will be unlinked from the originals. If that's the case, then there's a very good possibility that one of the Michelsons will die. Chances are it will be Rebecca because she's not a regular cast member, and yeah, so they might pull another killing like they did in Vampire Diaries episode 318 with Finn. So they might do that where it comes really close, and then yeah. So there's that, and sticking with it. Also, another prediction: Cole's resurrection. It's either going to happen in the next episode or very soon. Because I don't think they'd keep bringing Cole back as often as they are if we weren't going to see him on a permanent basis. I hope not, because then that'd be a huge tease for us. And I forgot to do this last time, but prophecy stats. So we're still families covered since Rebecca fell due to Elijah daggering her. In regards to friend, I think Klaus may fall because of Marcel, who is with the Strix. So that's always a possibility. Then again, Cammy could be the one doing it too, but she seems to have backed off now that she has her dark artifacts. And in regards to foe, if Klaus is for friend, then Elijah's for foe, and it may seem that it's either Aya or Aurora that do it. So I think it's going to be that. But I'm still waiting for Klaus to find out about Rebecca being daggered, for sure. And that's about it. So what did you guys think of the episode? Was it what you expected, or did you think something else was going to be revealed? Let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear about it. Also, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to my channel, and check out my other videos if you haven't done so already. Also, if you want a more detailed recap of the episode, check out my LiveJournal account, and the entry link for that is down below in the description box. That's more of a play-by-play of what happened in the episode, as well as my in-the-moment thoughts as I watched the episode for the first time. So check that out if you want. Also, check out my Tumblr page. Link for that will be down below for the fandom master list as well as for the specific episode. I usually reblog episode promos, synopses, stills, GIFs, quotes, dialogue GIFs, and all that fun stuff when it pops up on my dashboard. So one link for all that you can be found. And that's about it. So thank you guys for watching. I truly appreciate it. Sorry. I will be coming back next week to see what I have to say about the crossover event. And until next time, this is Mel wishing you all a great day, great week, wherever you are. So until next time, have a great weekend, everybody. Bye for now.